Hey, what's up, guys? This is Michael, and I want to walk you through a budget planning spreadsheet that I created. So, it's a really cool spreadsheet. What you do is you enter in your income over here, right? So, you type in like your job name, whatever you want to call it, and then you type in your monthly net income after taxes over here. And then, if you have any additional income, I left two slots for any side hustles that you have or side businesses. So you put that over there, and then, so let's say you change this value over here, it's going to automatically update this cell over here, right? So once that's put in, we have these little cards, these little expense cards that are separated by category. There's housing, debt, transportation, food, personal/health, entertainment, discretionary, subscriptions. I just use kind of the common ones. You can press this button over here, and then there's kind of additional categories, like there's household and then other. You can basically type in like if you have like travel or any personal type of expenses categories that you have that I didn't add. You can toggle that. So what you do is, so let's say for housing, right? Let's say it's going to come kind of empty at first. So let's say it's kind of empty. What you would do is you can double click here and then click on rent. So there's a drop down menu, and the drop down menu I can explain later, but basically it comes from a separate tab. So let's say rent is $800. What this bar chart does is it shows you, it's going to add up all the totals of this particular category for housing, and it's going to show you visually how much rent is taking up of this entire category, just so you have a better idea. So that's one, and then the internet, let's say it's like $50. So it's going to automatically update these, right? And then same with like in the debt column. Let's say you can double click here, and then there's like student loans, and then let's say it's like $200 a month. So that's pretty cool. And then I've added these cool little emojis to make it less boring of a spreadsheet. There's transportation. You can add in whatever you want. And the cool thing is you can add in as many drop-down menu items as you want. So let's say for housing, let's say you have, I don't know, let's say you have furniture or something like that, right? And you can just kind of add in an emoji by either pasting it in from online or just kind of, right clicking it. So once we add it there, it's going to automatically show up over here, right? So that's pretty cool. There's personal health, entertainment, all this stuff. You get the idea. There's basically 15 rows each. 15 rows each, and then I've only showed 10 because I don't think most people are going to want more than 10, but you can click this and add in more if you want, like that, right? And then earlier, I think you saw a notification for not editing cells. And the reason why is because this is a formula. So if you try to edit this, normally it's going to pop up and say, hey, don't edit this cell. But I clicked on a button that said, do not edit for more than 5 minutes. So just make sure that you don't delete this column over here, right? Because it's a formula. Okay, so when you scroll down, this is a really cool part. This is where you can visualize all of your expenses and income, right? So here I can see that my monthly net income is $6,300 and my expenses are almost $4,000, but I can kind of see visually how it ranks next to each other. And then this next pie chart is a pie chart of your expenses by category, and the categories are what are in these green labels over here, right? So I can see that housing takes up the most, and it's $1,000 or 26% of my entire month income. Food is 22%, debt is 21%. So those are kind of my big three, and then it's personal health, and it kind of just like kind of goes down a bit. And this is the same chart, but it's a bar chart format, so you can kind of just see better visually how they compare with each other. I can see housing again is my number one, and so forth. So you can kind of see where your spending is and where kind of maybe you can cut back on some expenses are. And then this last chart is an expense by description. So this one is going to be all your expenses by these little descriptions over here, right? So it's a little bit more granular. So I can see rent is my number one expense. My credit card number one is my second biggest monthly expense. Groceries, restaurants. So if I'm trying to become a better at budgeting, I'd probably cut down on my my restaurant spending. Maybe get this credit card debt down a bit. Maybe not get as many haircuts. I don't know, something like that. And then so that's a really cool way of visualizing all of your expenses and data that you might not even realize. how much you're spending on certain things. The next thing is going to be this scoreboard here. So this automatically, like I said, it adds up your income. This one adds up all of your expenses. This one, the remaining shows your remainder after your expenses. And this is just a savings goal. You can type it in because you might not even know how much you are able to save unless you know how much you have remaining, right? So we have $2,500 remaining. I know that I can save, $1,000 of that. And you can type in whatever you want. Maybe you can type in like an emergency, deposit each month that you want. And so you know that you have 1,000. Maybe you can do 500 here. Whatever you want to add, you can add this. And then this percentage down here shows the percentage of income. So your expenses are 60% of your income, your savings are 40% of your income, and your theoretical savings goal is 16% of your income. So it's a great little snapshot of all kind of the main metrics you want to look at. You can kind of just scan through this and see what jumps out. Okay, my haircuts are taking a lot of money. My credit card, number one, is a lot of money. I'm spending probably a little bit too much on Ubers, things like that. So the cool thing about this is everyone has different budgets, right? So I kind of chose, like I said, the top 8 or 9 that I thought were the most popular, but you can change this. You don't have to use exactly this. Let's say you don't have transportation costs for some reason. Let's say, okay, so let's go to this drop down list, like I said, right? So this is transportation and this is the car payment, whatever, all the drop down menu items. You can change this. Let's change this to random. Let's delete transportation and make it random. What it's going to do is it's going to update this to random so you know where to put in the drop down menu items. So let's say you want a drop down menu item to be random 1, random 2, whatever. So now if I go back to random, it's going to have these little red flags, which means it's an error. It's not what's in the drop down list. You double click on it, you can change it to random, whatever. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but if you kind of know your way around spreadsheets, you can do it. Otherwise, what I recommend is you just kind of adding in your own type of descriptions here into debt. Let's say you have an American Express card. Let's say you have a Visa card, whatever, and then that way it adds into the menu. You can always just type it in as well. Let's say you type something that's not in this. So let's say you type in like a Chase card. All that's going to happen is it's going to have a little red flag because that's not in the drop-down menu, and if that bothers you, then you can go back into your debt and type it in exactly like that Chase card, and then that'll disappear. So that's one pretty cool thing. And then, like I said, there's 3 extra columns, categories that you can add things to if you want, or you can just add it directly to this section over here. And then the last tab is going to be like an instructions tab. I'm going to update this more as I go. How to use a template will be a cool video. Just kind of walk you through as soon as you get the template, what's the first thing you should do. Like I recommend that everyone, once you get this template, you go to the budget template and then you click here and then you click duplicate. So when you first receive the template, all this is going to be empty, right? It's not all going to be here. And what you can do is just, let's say budget A, whatever. This way, if you kind of mess anything up on this spreadsheet, you always have the original tab to go to. So just make a copy of it and then just kind of keep it around just in case you make any mistakes or you want to revert back to the original, whatever. So that'll be really helpful. I'm going to delete this. And then I included my email and my Skype that you can contact me with any questions that you have. But yeah, I think this is a really great spreadsheet to help you especially visualize your budget, and it's really cool. And I added fun emojis to make it less boring. I'm going to include a description in the description where to download this spreadsheet. And then yeah, just let me know if you have any questions, and then make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more tutorials like this. Thanks, guys.